back again with another exciting Remote Creative podcast. This one is going to be a painful podcast today because it involves pain. It goes back to a time when I was very early on in my career. We're back in the year 2005. I'm 25 years old. I've been working for several years now in my business. I've been sitting a lot behind my desk because I'm doing all this design work, and I'm thinking I have to work hard in order to survive. So I came from a background where I did construction and lawn maintenance. And before I really could get my business up and running, I was doing marine construction. I was building docks and decks, and it was hard manual labor. And I grew up learning how to work really, really hard. My dad taught me those qualities, and I don't know if it's so much taught me or put me into a situation where I had to work hard. There were things that needed to be done, and a lot of it just required physical manual labor and pushing through the pain and getting it done so you can go home at night, go to sleep, get up and do it again the next day. So here I am transitioning from that type of lifestyle to trying to get my own design company up and running. And I want to be able to eat. I'm newly married. I have a new baby that's here. We just moved into a brand new house that we had remodeled, and I am struggling to survive and get things going. And so I'm spending a lot of time at my desk. And just to give you an idea of things that I would do, there was one particular client I had. I was doing illustrations for a book, and there were 24 illustrations that needed to be done. So I did the math and I said, well, I can do about 2 to 3 illustrations per day, and the deadline is 2 weeks. So I was very concerned that I would be able to hit this deadline. So what I did is I kind of did all the math and realized that I was going to have to work through 4 nights in the 2 weeks without sleeping. So I would get up on Monday. I would work all through the day, all through the night, sitting at my desk, mind you. I didn't have anything fancy, just a regular old desk. And all through the next day, then I'd go to sleep. Then I would wake up. I would work all through the day, all through that night, all through the next day. I'd go to sleep again, then the weekend. And I did the same thing through 2 more of those periods in the next week. That was insanity. And I was desperate for the work. I wanted the job, and I was willing to do anything it took to get it, including sacrifice my own health because, I was young and immortal. But during this time, I had gained some weight. I'd gotten a little flabby around the midsection. My typical weight is I'm 6 foot, and about 190 is probably normal for me. If I'm not, going to the gym and lifting weights, that's about what my average weight is. But I had gotten up to like 232 pounds. And my midsection was basically just jello, right? No core strength at all. And so one day I had to go outside and move these beams that were actually part of my father's construction business that were sitting out in my backyard temporarily. A truck had come and I needed to move these beams. Now I should have just asked for help, but I'm young and bulletproof. So I positioned myself under the beams, and I learned how to squat properly, playing 4 years of Texas football, and from going to the gym and lifting in the past. And lifting heavy things like this on the job site. So it wasn't an issue of how to lift properly. So I positioned myself, I supported my back, and then I pushed up. And these beams were probably 200 pounds. And I had not done any squats or any exercise like this in years. And so I figured it would be no big deal. It would just be hard. But if I pushed and muscled in there, I could lift them. And so about halfway up from this squat, this deep squat, I felt this strange effervescent type feeling trickling up my spine. And by this time I'm walking with these beams and I'm thinking, what did I just do? And as soon as it reached my head, I started to kind of black out. Darkness started gathering around. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to pass out and I'm going to drop these beams on myself and I'm going to injure myself really bad. So luckily I make it to the truck. I throw them back in and then I kind of hustle into the house and I'm kind of feeling my back and I don't feel any pain. And I'm like, what was that? I've never experienced anything like that. So I kind of leaned back carefully. I leaned to the left, I leaned to the right, and then I leaned forward. And as soon as I leaned forward a little bit, it felt like somebody took 2 flaming hot daggers and thrust them into my back. It was the most excruciating, unique, special kind of pain that I had ever felt in my life up to that point. And this became a huge problem for me up to this day, years and years later. I struggled through that pain for a long, long time, and I still was stuck at a desk. And it wasn't until later that I learned that I had crushed a disc. I had caused arthritis in my back, something called foraminal narrowing. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the disc was also degenerative. So 4 big problems with my back that I caused in just a few seconds. And it was chiefly due to the fact that I had become a workaholic, because originally, in the need that I felt to provide, I convinced myself that I had to become a workaholic. Because I didn't want to be one of those lazy guys just sitting at a desk all day and not getting work done. I said, well, let me become a workaholic and then I'll dial it back a little bit. That was a really bad idea. So if that sounds like your strategy, which you're probably going, whoa, why on earth would anybody do that? That sounds ridiculous. Well, that's what I did. And yeah, it was horrible. So I still had to sit. I changed my diet. I dropped 40 pounds just by changing my diet. So I did some research, looked into some stuff, and I was able to eat better, lose a lot of that weight. But exercise was hard. I figured I'm probably never doing squats again. I would tweak my back every now and then, little thing here and there, and it would nearly paralyze me. And the pain was just unbearable. And so anyway, over the course of the years, I have found solutions with a combination of minor back surgery, really physical therapy, and then even, believe it or not, cutting out dairy. I was able to reduce inflammation, free up some pain in my back, and now I'm kind of at a place where I'm living mostly a normal life. I don't carry a lot of weight or put a lot of pressure on my back, but anyway, that's where I am today. Years and years, almost 2 decades or so now of suffering just because I became this workaholic. And one of the things that's helped me to manage that a little bit better, I'm not going to say I'm perfect at this. Even right now, it's 7:35. I should have ended work. 5 o'clock is what I kind of aim to stop at. But, one of the things I tell myself is, I came across this phrase and I can't remember off the top of my head who or where I heard it from, but it's the work is never done. Because I always feel like, gosh, if I could just finish this, and this, I'm so close. And you keep pushing past when you should stop. And then those hours just fly by. And then before long, you realize you're wasting so much of your life staring into a screen, and you're living to work instead of working to live. And now I've gotten a lot better at this over the years. I'm nowhere near as bad as I used to be. Like I said, not flawless at it, but way better than I used to be. And the one thing I have to tell myself is, as soon as it gets to 5 p.m., hey, the work is never done. Even if I manage to reach some stopping point at 2 a.m. in the morning and I come around to the next day, there's going to be a whole load of things that are there waiting for me that I could do. I could fill my day. I can just fill it up with an infinite number of things. The work is never, ever done. It goes on and on and on. So you have to create those stopping points. That's very important. So what I do today is, I'm constantly changing this around. I'm a creative person. And so I'm constantly experimenting with different types of things. And so, my latest move is I plan my gym time right in the middle of the day. That kind of breaks up the day from me sitting at my desk. I've got a yoga mat in my office, so I'll do yoga. I do a lot of body weight exercises throughout the day just to kind of get mobility. And one of my favorite purchases has been a standing desk. So I purchased one from a company called Autonomous, and I've been using these for years and years. And so I can set a timer on my computer. I've got a little free app called Recess that I have go off every hour or so. And then I stand up, and I can stand normally at the desk, or I can raise it up a couple inches higher. And then I actually have one of these kind of balance boards that I got off Amazon for like $24. It's Urban Fit. It's circular, and it has a kind of half sphere on the bottom, and I could stand on it and kind of mobilize my hips and my ankles and just kind of move around on this thing and get some mobility while I'm standing at my desk. So a combination of all these different things, taking care of myself, even just going for a walk. Back at the previous place we used to live, they had these trails where we lived a little bit out in the country, and there was a perfect 2-mile loop. And I would do that loop every single day. And it was great to just go out and walk those 2 miles and not be stuck behind a desk, So those types of things have been great. So basically, the biggest challenge has been trying to find something that works for me. And I don't know what it is, but any type of routine is really hard for me to stick to. So I have to kind of create a routine, do it for a while, and then switch it up a little bit into something else, and then do that for a while, and then constantly kind of experiment with different things and just keep it interesting, because I'm constantly interested and curious and wanting to try new things. And so that's what I've done. And for the most part, it's kind of worked for me. I think a lot of that depends on what your personality is, and if having some type of strict routine works for you for a long term, or if you need to constantly be changing it up. But the bottom line is the core principles that have helped me the most is understanding the work is never done. So you might as well pick a stopping time, finish, and then go live your life. And find time throughout even the middle of the day. If you have to run an errand or get something done, plan something right in the middle of the day. Break that up. Do your hardest things in the morning, and then do the easier things in the afternoon. There's all different kinds of techniques and things that you can do and you can experiment with that will make your work-life balance a lot better. I mean, work is part of your life. It's how you provide for your life and your loved ones. And so, yeah, it's very important to do all those things well and to work efficiently, not waste time during the day, and make sure you commit yourself to putting first things first. But there's no reason to work yourself to the bone during the day. If that's how it's going for you, man, you got to make some changes, because they could have very negative effects on your health and negatively affect how you live your life and the things you're able to do with your loved ones. I can't tell you how many things over the last several years I've had to miss out on. Going on roller coasters, cliff jumping. How many times my family, my kids were out doing fun stuff, and I had to say, no, I can't do that. I'm afraid that's going to hurt my back and cause me immense pain. And so I had to bow out of so many things. And, every time I'm doing that, I resent that one moment. And that one moment was caused by me not having a good balance in my life. So if this is you right now, before anything serious happens, take those steps. It will absolutely be worth it. You'll be happier, you'll have better relationships, and you're going to love and cherish your life more. And in turn, that's going to make your work itself a more enjoyable experience. Well, that's it for today. This is Steve Reed, and we'll see you on the next Remote Creative Podcast.